My dear friends, today I want to share a story that I believe will truly inspire you. A story about a remarkable woman whose life was a living testament to the power of simplicity, self-care, and the quiet wisdom that comes from truly listening to one's body. She lived to be 102 years old, and she did it without ever seeing a doctor, not because she didn't have access, but because she lived in such a way that her body rarely called for help. And while I am a doctor myself, and I would never advise you to avoid medical care when you need it, I think her story offers lessons so valuable that they're worth holding close to our hearts. She was born in a small rural town, long before the world became obsessed with pills, screens, and speed, where food came from the earth, air was crisp and clean, and the pace of life allowed people to notice the little things: the sound of the wind, the rhythm of the seasons, the warmth of the sun on the skin. Her days began at sunrise with a gentle stretch and a smile. She would step outside to greet the morning air as though it were an old friend, and breakfast was not a rushed cup of coffee but a slow, nourishing meal. Oats she cooked herself, fresh fruit from her garden, and a sprinkle of seeds she always said were for the heart. She moved constantly, not in the way we think of exercise today with timers and gym memberships, but through a life of purposeful movement, tending to her garden, sweeping her porch, walking to visit neighbors, hanging clothes on a line, all while humming little tunes she made up as she went. She believed the body was like a trusted companion, and if you fed it well, moved it often, and treated it kindly, it would return the favor for many years. She also understood something I see missing in so many lives today: the ability to truly rest, not just sleep at night, but to pause during the day, sit in the sun, and let the mind grow quiet. Her afternoons were for reading, mending clothes, or sipping tea while watching birds, activities that didn't just fill time but nourished her spirit. She had no television for most of her life and preferred conversation over distraction, and oh, how she laughed. Deep, hearty laughter that shook her shoulders and watered her eyes. She believed joy was a medicine you could make yourself, and she took it daily. Her meals were small but frequent, filled with vegetables. She grew herself, beans and grains she cooked slowly, and only a little meat from time to time. She drank water, not soda, and herbal teas. She swore helped keep the pipes clean. She never smoked, rarely drank alcohol, and when she did, it was a small glass of homemade wine shared with friends. Perhaps one of her greatest strengths was her refusal to dwell on worry. She would acknowledge a problem, do what she could, and then let it go, trusting that life had a way of finding balance. I've seen in my years as a doctor how destructive chronic stress can be, and she seemed to understand instinctively that peace of mind was as important as food or water. She kept her mind sharp by learning. She could recite poems she learned in childhood, played simple games that challenged her memory, and even taught herself to knit in her 80s. She had purpose, not a grand career or a public platform, but a daily list of small, meaningful things that made her feel useful and connected. She cooked for neighbors, wrote letters to distant relatives, and tended flowers not just for herself, but so passers-by could enjoy their beauty. Her relationships were deep and lasting, built on trust, kindness, and mutual care, and she always said, "A heart surrounded by friends beats longer." When winter came, she welcomed it as a time of rest, and when summer arrived, she worked with the sun, never against it. She respected nature's rhythms, eating what was in season, waking early in long summer days, and sleeping longer in the dark months. Perhaps most surprising of all was her attitude toward her own aging. She never fought it, never complained about wrinkles or gray hair, instead seeing them as marks of honor, signs she had lived well. When her eyesight dimmed, she used brighter lamps. When her hands stiffened, she slowed her pace. When she could no longer walk long distances, she sat outside and let the world come to her. She adapted instead of resisting, and I believe that acceptance kept her spirit light. She believed health was not the absence of illness, but the presence of vitality, the ability to do what you loved each day without being a burden to yourself or others. She did experience aches and pains, of course. After all, she was human, but she addressed them with rest, warmth, gentle movement, and the occasional poultice or herbal remedy passed down through her family. And while I would urge anyone to seek modern medical care when symptoms persist, I can't ignore that her way of living, active, connected, grateful, kept her strong without the need for doctors. When she passed away peacefully in her sleep, just shy of her 103rd birthday, there was no long illness, no prolonged suffering, only a quiet fading, like the last note of a beautiful song. So why share her story with you today? Because it's a reminder that while we can't control everything about our health, there are choices we make daily that can stack the odds in our favor. Simple food, daily movement, deep rest, meaningful relationships, laughter, purpose, and a gentle acceptance of life's changes. My friends, you don't have to move to a farm or give up every modern convenience to live well. But you can take pieces of her wisdom and weave them into your own life. You can replace one processed snack with fresh fruit, take a short walk after lunch, spend 10 minutes in the sun, call a friend instead of scrolling on a screen, or sit quietly and simply breathe. And while I will always be here, as your doctor, ready to help when you need me, I also want to help you build the kind of daily life that keeps you well, strong, and joyful for as long as possible. Her life proves that it's not about miracle cures or expensive treatments. It's about tending to your body and soul with steady, loving care, every single day. And if a woman born more than a century ago could do it with the simplest of tools, I believe you can too, starting right now, wherever you are, with whatever you have. So let's honor her memory, not just by admiring her years, but by living in a way that makes each of our own years rich with health, meaning, and joy.